Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dr. Phenomenon's LEP Frequency Toolbox broadcast. I am your host, Dr. Phenomena, and today we are going to continue on exploring the LEP Frequency Tool and focus on the area of mechanisms. We had already reviewed the prep and the means. For those of you who had missed those segments, please go back and do review each segment. Each segment is a building block, a stepping stone that you will need the information from in order to use the LEP Frequency Tool to your highest advantage. So please ensure that you go back and you add all of the other segments to your own personal LEP Frequency Toolbox. You know, the LEP name came from lived experience phenomenon because that is where my research is. I was a college professor in the area of psychology and did much research in the area of lived experiences. So the lived experience phenomenon is a very fascinating subject to me, and the LEP Frequency Tool truly is a marvelous instrument that can assist you to work with energy to create the future that you want to face. So we reviewed the prep. Please go back to the segments. We've talked about the means. There's so much information in these segments, so it's vital that you go back and review. Today's program, we are reviewing the mechanism section of the LEP Frequency Tool, as I mentioned. The mechanisms are the emotional, mental, physical, sensory, and spiritual consciousness frequencies that you will use to determine the speed of your vibration and whether you live in the lack and survival energies, dedication energies, absorption, or the connection frequencies. So, we've already reviewed the prep and the importance of mental check-ins by questioning your thoughts, challenging your thoughts, governing your thoughts, emotional check-ins to ensure that you are balanced and not emotionally out of control, the spiritual preparation, the belief system, and the courage to continue on. And now we have also reviewed the means category, which is all about controlling thoughts, emotions, and images. Why? Because thoughts transform to images. Images really activate feelings. And feelings activate vibrational consciousness fields. Whether you live in lack and survival, which are the lowest, densest energy fields, whether you live in a dedication, which is the moderate energy field, whether you're in the absorption consciousness, which is a high energy field, or the connection consciousness, which is a peak energy field, all has to do with the vibration of your mental and emotional frequencies, because they are the ones that kick in the physical aspect, which is the physical effort. Thoughts transform to images. Images activate feelings, and feelings activate action through whatever consciousness fields that you are vibrating in, whether it's in the lack or the higher energies. And today we are going to look at those mental, emotional, physical, sensory, and spiritual frequency levels, because those are the levels that you are going to have to see or assess in each of the levels of lack and survival and the higher energies, to see where you are vibrating in those energies. So the lack and survival consciousness is really the densest in the lived experience phenomenon. And, I said this before because it's true. It is where most humanity move. It's almost in a hypnotic kind of trance. People in the lack and survival energies are just, they're living, but they're not really alive. And there's a big difference. The lack and survival energies are discordant in nature, because they're of lower vibration and they move in the cause and effect of energies. Again, you might be looking at the victim mentality, that life is happening to you as opposed to you directing your life so that you can be the recipient of what you want instead of what you don't want. So, vibrating in a lower dense energies in, like, let's say, for example, in the mental field, it is often difficult for people to believe that they can create their own miracles. For people living in the low mental frequencies, life are usually felt at a lower, less desirable outcomes, because because the energy that they're sending, that the signals that they're sending is of so low energy that the only that they can get back due to the law of attraction and law of vibration is what they put out. So you are going to get back the pessimism that you sent out, or the bleak outlook, such as like there is no way out. Because people in their lack and survival energies are mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and usually physically just overwhelmed. They're tired. They're thinking that all they have is frustration. They are revolving in anger, sadness, sometimes fear. Because that's basically the primary emotions that are, and mental energies that are really evolving in the low energies. And it is often difficult for these people to believe and know and see in their mind, the images in their mind, that they can create their own miracles. So for people living in these lower experiences, and do buy the book if you haven't done so already. It's so important because there's so many different assessments and supplements, and in great detail explains every part of the LEP Frequency Tool and how you should use it. It's called Only Good Comes to Me. And you can get it at www.lepeducation.com. And do buy it. Take the assessments regularly, because it is always within the currency of the now that you know where you are vibrating, and that is how you can be prepared to receive greater energies and desirable outcomes. Because people that live in low vibrations are very much stuck in pessimistic points of view, believing that there's no way out. They find it extremely difficult to believe that there's a better way to live, and that they can themselves use the LEP frequency tool to change their life and live the life that they want. So that the fact that they can't do it is flawed thinking. Not only is there a way out of a lower vibration, the LEP frequency tool will ensure that you can move into higher energies with relative ease by working with these energies, the mental, emotional, physical, sensory, and spiritual energies. Okay? Because the mental frequency encompasses thoughts and emotions. The emotional frequency is obviously it's all feelings and have an emotional balance. The physical and sensory frequency, the physical aspect is well-being and health and your body, your physical body. And of course, the sensory aspect is your senses, your taste, your smell, your hearing, your touch. It's all. And of course, let's not forget the sixth sense. The sixth sense, which is your psychic ability. So it's your sight, your touch, your smell, your hearing. And of course, let's not forget the sixth sense, because many people have that ability, and you can too if you are open to it. The spiritual frequency encompasses all personal beliefs, your confidence in yourself and in a higher power. Okay. So collectively, the mechanisms that you use to identify where you are vibrating in life and how you live, whether you're living in the lack and survival, dedication, absorption, or connection consciousness, okay, is determined by these vibrational fields of mental, emotional, spiritual, sensory, and physical. So, really in the lack and survival, that you definitely have to move forward, because it is only through shifting higher you can gain the power to be successful in life and get what you want, the future that you want to face, the future that you want to live. So that is the lack and survival on all of the mental, emotional, physical, and sensory and spiritual aspects. It's a very low energy. You are not yourself. You are not up to par in terms of physical wellness. You are, in terms of sensory perceptions, you are not seeing the roses. You are not smelling the roses. You may see them in a traditional sense, but you don't see the beauty in them. You don't see their vibrancy, their energy. You hear things, but you don't really hear the actual, the music that you can, through a much more of a vibrant, venue. Same with vision. It's all about the vibrancy and the energy and the enrichment when you're in higher energies. For example, when you already are, in the lack and survival consciousness, you're seeing everything through bleak eyes. You're seeing everything through the emotions of a challenge, of everything is a hard climb. everything is, against the current. Mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. In the dedication consciousness, that's where you have, that is the higher, the moderate. It is the mid-range frequency. That is when you have dedicated yourself to control your thoughts, images, and feelings. Because once you can do that, you can start to create your life and really use the energy in the absorption consciousness. Through the dedication consciousness, it's when you're moving in that moderate stage, thoughts are forming, and it's so important to get a handle on what you're thinking about, governing those thoughts and controlling those thoughts, and checking in with those thoughts, because it is through those thoughts that, that they activate our emotions and the images in our mind, which activates our physical ability to do things and going after opportunities. Thoughts are so important, in not only informing our everyday life and experience, but just informing our entire purpose in life and how we go about it. When you have to be in control of your thoughts, your mental aspects, because, it's atoms. We are all atoms. Shifting around. The reason that you see everything the way that you do is because you're vibrating at your frequency, at the speed of the atoms. So, it's in the book by Waddles. I think it was in 1910. I think it was called The Science of Getting Rich. The author contended that a man can form many things from thought just by impressing thoughts through substance. And through that, they can create the thoughts. It's the same thing in what Einstein had preached, what Max Planck had preached, what Wayne Dyer had preached, what Dr. Hawkins and Edgar Cayce had preached. Anything in the consciousness that is created in the consciousness can be brought forth into physical reality, because thoughts transform to images, images activate feelings, and feelings trigger the mechanisms of manifestation. They trigger action. They trigger the belief, the spiritual aspects, the confidence. So, I can't express the mental and emotional aspects enough in terms of the mechanisms to ensure that you know how to use the LEP frequency tool to elevate you into the higher energies, because a thought, anything held persistently in your consciousness, and that's what a thought or feeling, by the way, will bring them into your use and world. It must, because all energy responds to the law of attraction. So when you think or feel something, you are vibrating at the same level as that something. Thus, whenever you allow your thoughts to dwell in these low vibrations, like in the lack and survival energy, you are compelling them into your physical universe and really have opened yourself into that same level of vibration. So if it's a challenge, if you're living in the lack and survival energies, that's you're going to get more of the same. In the dedication consciousness, you are now stronger. You can control your thoughts, emotions, which can give you a much better outlook on life and motivate you in your physical abilities and create a sense of well-being, because very often when we think and see things in our minds, we feel better physically. It's all connected. And it strengthens our belief system, like in spirituality, because now we have the confidence. So train yourself to be aware of what you are thinking, of what you are feeling, because know that brings us back in the experience. And within the dedication consciousness, this is where the LEP frequency tool will teach you step-by-step process how to control your thoughts so that your images and your feelings will be controlled and you'll have better outcomes for your physical realities. It literally will teach you how to form all of those things, align them so that through the absorption consciousness, you can contemplate them, send out the intent, and bring forth what was in your consciousness into your physical reality. So do purchase the book, do follow the segments, because that is how energy works. This is how the universe works. This is how everything you see in front of you was created. It was created through that same concept. It all started in the mind. Then it was the image backed by feeling, I can do this and I will. And then the feeling gave motivation to physical opportunities and going after that. And it became real, just like this microphone, just like everything that you see. everything, the jewelry that I'm wearing, everything, all the clothes, everything that you see in front of you. So absolutely, please know that your mental activity and your feelings are the activity of life, and they really propel into existence what you're thinking and feeling about, which is why the LEP frequency tool works, which is why it will teach you how to focus and direct energy the correct way so that you can manifest things in your life that you want as opposed to things that you don't want. Okay? So, the world really is a magnetic mirror, that attracts the same energy in thought, images, and feelings. So you may not be aware of it, but everything in the universe is reflecting back at you what you sent out. Louise Hay, actually, in many of her lectures, contended that the truth as we know it is that your thoughts and beliefs, basically what you think about and what you believe is what will come true for you, because your thoughts create your life. It really is that simple. And when we get that, she said, you can make enormous changes. And through using the LEP frequency tool, you can start using and making those changes right away. Because all human suffering really is made from our own constructs, from human creations. And if you change them by using your thoughts, images, and feelings, you will increase your vibration and automatically move into a higher energy field, because now your thoughts, images, and feelings, have now been elevated. And now that they're elevated, you will vibrate in a higher frequency, not in the lack and survival, not in the dedication consciousness, because you have already learned and controlled your thoughts, images, and feelings, which activate your physical and spiritual consciousness, what prompts you into action and belief in yourself. So now that you know that and you have controlled it in the dedication consciousness, through reading the LEP Frequency Tool, through All the Good Comes to Me book and understanding the LEP Frequency Tool. And now you have moved into the absorption consciousness where the heart of creation takes place, because here you can use the mental, emotional, physical, sensory, and spiritual energies at their highest. At their highest. Because contemplation, intention, installation, and elimination are all found in the absorption consciousness energies. All of them. So if you want to create something, you can contemplate it into existence. Contemplate it, and you can send it out through your intent. Thus, your thought form is now sent into the universe. It's gathering strength. You must believe in the cause. And you must never let self-doubt influence the image. The more self-doubt that you have about what your thought form is that you are trying to create into realization, into your physical universe, into your physical existence, if you let doubt in and doubt yourself, you have now lowered expectancy and you have delayed its arrival in your physical manifestation. So even people that are of good intent, and they try to the greatest of intent, try to tell you, oh no, don't dream about this. This is not good for you. If you hold on to your intent and you clearly visualize it in your heart through contemplation, and you hold on to that vision of what you want, never allowing any self-doubt in, and send it out in that form into the world. And the book will teach you how to do that. The segments will teach you how to do that. That of what you desire will come back to you. Of that you can be assured. It can be no other way. It cannot be any other way. Because like attracts like. The law of vibration, the law of attraction specifically state what it can and can't attract. And it can only attract things at its own frequency level and repel things that are not. So through contemplation, you can now send out the intent from a higher perspective, ensuring that it will manifest for you. In addition to, in the absorption consciousness, you can not only use the powers of creation, but powers of elimination. Also through the complete control of thoughts, images, and feelings, because you can now, and really the violet energies, mastering the violet energies, because now you can eliminate any discord in your life by using those processes, by using thoughts, images, and feelings, aligning them, and you may eliminate any discord in your life, whether it's mental, emotional, physical, sensory, spiritual. All discord can be eliminated through the LEP frequency tool if used appropriately in the absorption consciousness. Okay. The absorption consciousness also has spiritual applications, which is the electronic circle. And again, the book, if you have not bought so, please do. It's so important that you have a copy. Only Good Comes to Me. Available at www.lepeducation.com. Please get a copy so that you can take the assessment and see where you are vibrating, and that you know how to work with the energy to eliminate all discordant energy from your life. That's so important, because you have the tool available to you. You just have to put it into use to eliminate all discord. Sometimes you can even pick up discordant energy that attaches itself to you. The LEP frequency tool will be able to eliminate that energy from your life as well, leaving you, clean and clear. You can refuse any negative energy, just like you can refuse to think any certain thoughts, and you can refuse to feel any emotions that don't serve you at their first appearance. So the absorption consciousness is of high frequencies. The connection consciousness is of peak frequencies, and it is a fabulous place. It is a place where truly you have mastered all of the other consciousness levels and can pretty much create at will. Outer influences will no longer affect you, because now you'll only look at them as a challenge. Oh, look, a challenge came into my life, something I can easily change. When you are in the connection consciousness, you will feel as if all outer negative or discordant influences truly have just been put there to allow you to play with the power and seeing how quickly you can come back to a place of well-being. Because nothing is restricted to you. Nothing is limited or denied in a connection consciousness, and all worthy desires are, created in perfect order and harmony. And you know that you can change your existence at any time. So the connection consciousness truly is a place where, you live in a world of bliss on all stages of the mental, emotional, physical, sensory, and spiritual consciousness field, because you'll realize that, not only is patience a virtue, but if you are vibrating high, you do give everybody a break on every level. You do realize that people are still under stress and they don't know how to handle it like you can. They don't know how to take a negative situation and turn it into a positive like you can on every aspect: mental, emotional, physical, sensory, and spiritual level. Okay, because through the LEP frequency tool, you have now learned how to do that. So you're at a whole different place. And it's very often that when you are in a connection consciousness, people actually make comments like, you look different. You have this aura of peace and joy about you. And that's because you do. You have learned how to master the mental, emotional, physical, sensory, and spiritual consciousness levels. You can identify where you are at all times. You can take the assessments in any one of those frequencies and see, if you think you're in the connection consciousness, all of a sudden you're taking the assessments and you're no longer vibrating in a connection consciousness. Now you may be in the absorption or dedication. You could even fall into the lack and survival consciousness, because energy, if unguarded, will absolutely drain you. You may be in a connection consciousness today, but if you are not aligned and continuously monitoring and checking in with your mental aspects and your mental thoughts, governing your thoughts, challenging your thoughts, emotions, checking in with your emotions, if you don't continuously monitor these consciousness fields and something, an outer influence of tragedy that you consider tragedy appears in your life, you may not be in the position of being insulated against it if you have not insulated yourself prior. to the event. And therefore, you may react instead of respond. And once you start reacting, you come from a space of reacting as opposed to responding, you definitely will lower in frequency, and you will drop sometimes, like I said, even from the connection of frequency consciousness right to the lack of survival, where again you're overwhelmed in life, and depression sets in, and everything that you've learned about, everything that you've worked so hard to attain and achieve, to be in a place of power, can fall apart if you don't watch your mental and emotional consciousness and guard against it, because you truly have the power to challenge any discordant energies. You have the power to challenge it and be the victorious. Victory is yours. When you use the LEP frequency tool as instructed, rest assured, victory is yours. Energy can only work one way. Everything that was created in life, everything around you, including you, is made up of that same energy that you are now using on a mental, emotional, sensory, physical, and spiritual levels, so that you can identify where you live and how you are living, so that you can quickly change and shift into a higher frequency, because that's where the power lays. And there's going to be many more segments about how to tap into each power individually on each of the vibrational frequencies. So do stay tuned. Do constantly check the segments, and absolutely do, if you can, if I'm ever in your area, or even travel to see one of the seminars. They really are life-changing. The Only Good Comes to Me seminars are life-changing. Not only through the lecture on how to use the LEP frequency tool, but through the demonstrations. And of course, they're truly invigorating and highly de-stressful violet energy meditation session. Seminars always come equipped with question and answer segments for individual attention. So absolutely do stop by, visit www.lepeducation.com, and sign up for one of the seminars. I would love to see you and answer your questions. In the meantime, please buy the book, Only Good Comes to Me, loaded with information on how to use the LEP frequency tool to create the future that you want to face. There's no one to blame. You have the instrument now. You have the power. Okay, and it's time that you started using it. So thank you again for another fabulous segment and for spending some time with me. I'm honored to have spent time with you. And I hope to see you either in person in one of my book signings, or at the seminar, or, online through one of the broadcasts on YouTube or the podcasts. Thank you so very, very much. Blessings. May only good come to you. Thank you.